Hello, this is Bill Word with Digi International. This is yet another in a series of little technical snippets that we're doing, showing you how to do various configuration things on Digi TransPort routers. Today I'm going to talk about how to configure and monitor a unit for Verizon LTE. It's important to note that you must order this specific module, and there's a part number builder on our website that tells you how to do that. So I have the web open here to my unit, and normally you would log into 192.168.1.1. That's the default IP address of a Digi TransPort, and it's got a DHCP server built into it. But I have it here on my network in my office, and I want to make sure that I can get to it locally. So I use something called port isolate mode and assign the second port on my WR21, which can come with either one or two ports, an address on my local office network. I'm logging in with the default username and password, and I recommend highly that you change that default, but for my test purposes, I don't care. First of all, I probably should take a step back and tell you this is really easy to do. So when you get a Digi TransPort WR21 for Verizon LTE, take your LTE SIM, put it in slot 1. There are 2 slots, but in this case we're going to use slot 1. Apply power to the transport, and go get a cup of coffee or a drink or whatever. Take a couple of minutes, and when you come back, more than likely what's happened is the default APN that is assigned to that SIM that you have put in there should auto-populate, and you don't have to do any mobile configuration. It really is that easy, and it's really cool. Already you can see here on my unit, right here on the home page, when I logged in, I have a PPP1 wireless WAN address. So how did I get that address? Well, the SIM that I have, I'll show you. If you go under network status and you click on mobile, if you go down here, you will see information about the module and how it's connected. If you look down here, you will see APN in use, and in my case, it's a generic Verizon Internet SIM. And yes, you may have noticed that I got a 10 dot address, so your network has put it behind NAT, so I can go outbound, but I can't really come inbound unless I do a VPN. But this automatically populated on the SIM. I really did nothing to make this happen other than just make sure the SIM was activated. Very, very, very simple. And again, you can go to this page I just went to, and it will tell you exactly that. Now, what happens if A, that doesn't populate properly, or B, let's say I'm a company and Verizon came in and said, okay, we're going to put you on a private plan, which absolutely we support private LTE plans. In fact, we also support DMNR for primary access, but that's a different thing we'll get into sometime. Very simply, all I do is go under Configuration Network. I go to Mobile Settings, and note that my MZ is listed here, so I know that I'm using that SIM that was provided to me. And I click on this Use Custom APN instead of the built-in APN. And here I would type the name of whatever APN is provided by Verizon, whatever that is. And I would go down and I would click Apply. Now, I'm not going to do that here. Well, actually, I can do that, sure. I would click Apply, and then I would save the configuration. If you don't save it, what will happen is when you reboot, that save won't go into effect. And I typically just say save all, and that way we make sure we get everything saved. Doesn't take but maybe a half a second longer to do that. Okay, now if I go to the event log and I'll kind of walk you through this. So under Management Event Log, if you look down here at the bottom, this shows you where I powered it up. So at timestamp 21:15, it powered up, and here's where it dialed at 21:16, and it took me all of about less than a minute, or about a minute, for this thing to come up and connect to the network. And it's been up a while, so I didn't just boot it up when I started this video, so you can see that. This is where I logged in. This is where I just made the change. So what it does is it changes it's called a context, and it changes the context from 3 to 5. So the default context, the automatic context, if you will, is 3, designated by the number 3 in the phone number here, and here's 5. Now notice that it didn't disconnect. Okay, it's still connected. So if I need to disconnect it, I could either reboot the transport, or I can go right over here to Management Connections. I go to my PPP connection because that's what it's using to communicate to the network. And I can say drop link. Okay, so now the connection is dropped. I can go back to the event log and it will show me that. Now what it's trying to do, it's trying to connect again. Well, guess what, folks? I don't think it's going to. Now it'll take a few seconds for it to time out, but you will see eventually that it times out. So if I go back here to under network status and I click on mobile again, you see it's not connected. And my APN in use, which it read off the module, is company.com. Actually, it didn't read it off the module this time. It read it off of the config in the transport itself. With the automatic APN that I showed you initially, the automatic APN, it stores that information in the memory of the module. So again, it's automatic. That's the cool part about it. And the only time you should ever really need to use this manual override is if something in the plan has changed, or for some reason the default doesn't connect. Very easy. I'm going to go change it back. Again, I go to mobile settings. I'm going to clear this checkbox. I'm going to apply that, and then I'll save it. Okay, and in a couple of minutes it should go back and reset itself and reconnect using, well, that didn't take long, did it? See how long that took? So these are the command line commands that actually get executed when you do it through the web interface. So you can see here where that does that. Now, that's really all there is to it. If you want more detail, you can go to our support site, and I've got it right here. So I'm going to take the shortcut here. Digi.com/support. For example, you can type WR21. It will bring up the Digi TransPort WR21. And this is where, for example, you can download firmware, but the key thing here I'm going for is documentation. And the big old user guide is here, but the specific document I'm looking for is this one. Application Note 51 on Verizon LTE provisioning. And this document goes into a lot of detail. Again, if you're using the automatic APN and your SIM has been properly set up, there's nothing to it. Just put the box, the transport, where it gets a good signal on LTE, and you can see that there's LEDs right on the front. And if you have at least 2 LEDs on the front, that should be good. Obviously, we want 3. The signal LEDs on the front go from 1 to 3. There's information in this document actually about that. But this document, this application note, will go through the complete details of how this LTE APN stuff works. I hope this was helpful. Stay tuned to the YouTube channel here, and there'll be more of these little snippets posted. And have a great rest of the day. Thank you.